This is KK4RYG, Renzo listening.
W5FC.
W5ST, this is KK4RYG. Are we in the net?
Calling K5L.
Hi guys, this is KK4RYG Arenza, Anchorage, Alaska, checking in. All right, you guys have a great weekend. KK4RYG 73.
TechNet Saturday at 7 p.m. W5FC.
Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Does anyone need to use the repeater before we begin the 9 p.m. Skynet? This is KF5PDS. My name is Billy, and I'll be your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. Skynet is a weekly net called every Saturday night at 9 p.m. concerning the subject of astronomy. Our purpose is to help amateurs become more familiar with the nighttime and daytime sky, astronomy, and space in general. This net is open to all amateurs interested in this topic, and we encourage your participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations with priority or emergency traffic may enter the net at any time by using the pro sign, break, and your call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic? This is a directed net. Please do not transmit without direction from net control, that would be me, and stations are reminded to ID at the end of your transmissions. This weekly net operates on 146.880 megahertz with a PL tone of 110.9. Check-ins via Echolink are also possible using the W5FC-R station ID or Echolink node 37247. Tonight's topics, astronomy charts, pictures, and live audio-video links are available online. Go to www.w5fc.org right now for the complete list, and remember to tell others about this popular net. You can now check into the net electronically by going to the club website, w5fc.org, look for tonight's announcement, and click on the hot link to check in. We'll announce you on the air, and don't worry, if you want to check in via voice, we'll continue to do that too, over air and Echolink. All amateur operators are welcome. You need not be a member of any amateur radio club to participate. The net is 90 minutes long and is structured in several parts. General announcements, Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, where and when you can look through a telescope, National Space Society events, recent astronomical discoveries, discussion topic of the evening, was up, space exploration and space history, constellation of the week, space launches of the week, visible satellite passages over the next couple of days, astronomical Q&A, and our 73 round. All amateurs licensed to transmit on this frequency are invited to check in. We currently have the following people checked in via w5fc.org. We have KE5ICX, Tom, Corpus Christi, All-Star Link. K5MCD, Cody, floating away in Dallas. Oh no, hopefully you got been a lot of rain. Over Air Radio. Alpha Golf 9 Sierra Golf, Antonio, Dallas, Over Air Radio. N5BB, Bill and Irving, Over Air Radio. N5LIG, Dale and Little Elm, Over Air Radio. KF5JHA, Bob the Cat and Chaz, on the Cat Planet, multiple modes. N50OF, Oscar Foxtrot, Clay and Mesquite, online on YouTube. NT5TM, Tony in Bird City, Over Air Radio. And Alpha 5 Alpha Hotel, Robert in Richardson, Over Air Radio. So lots of check-ins there. So now let's start with voice check-ins, starting with short time check-ins. So if you are short time, please come now with your call sign name and where you're transmitting from this evening.
This is Kilo Golf 5, Uniform Foxtrot Romeo, Jacob and Farmers Branch, no traffic.
Okay, so the net recognizes Kilo Golf 5, Uniform Foxtrot Romeo, Jacob and Farmers Branch. Welcome. Do we have any other short time check-ins? If so, please come now with your call sign, name, and where you're transmitting from this evening.
Good evening. This is Kilo 4 Romeo Yankee Golf Arenza in Anchorage, Alaska. A check-in, check-out, a short time. Thank you for having me. Back to you.
Copy that, KK4RYG in Anchorage. Wonderful to have you. We do this net every Saturday at 9 p.m. You're always welcome to check in on any and all of our nets, but glad you can make it to Skynet. All right, let's go ahead and move on to general check-ins. Same request. If you're checking in via voice, just give me your call sign name, where you're transmitting from.
This is Eagle Golf 5, Whiskey Victor Lima, James in North Carrollton.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Zulu Bravo Lima, Bill, Farmers Branch.
All right, copy that. We've got Kilo Golf 5, Whiskey Victor Lima, James in North Carrollton, and KF5ZBL, Bill in Farmers Branch. Do we have any more general check-ins?
This is Whiskey 5, Golf, Uniform, Sierra. It's Gus, far northeast Dallas.
W5GUS, Gus in far northeast Dallas. We got you checked in. Any other general check-ins?
This is Whiskey Bravo 4, Mike Foxtrot, India, WB4MFI, Ted, Dallas, low power.
WB4MFI, Ted, Dallas, low power. Got you checked in. All right, at this time, let's move over to Echolink. If there's anyone on Echolink that has not yet checked in and would like to check in via voice over Echolink, I'll give you extra time. So Echolink check-ins at this time. Okay, the only person I see over there that hasn't checked in is Jimmy, KD5LQD. I got you checked in. All right, so welcome to all who have checked in so far to Skynet. This is KFI PDS, your net Billy, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. All right, let's get started with general announcements. Do we have any general announcements for this evening's net? These can be ham, astronomical, space, or general interest to licensed hams. If you have an announcement, please come now with your call sign.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike.
NT5TM, Tony, welcome. What announcements do you have for us this evening from Bird City?
Well, the bird is chirping happily, and he doesn't want me to forget that tonight's Afterglow movie discussion will focus on Elvira's Haunted Hills, a crowdsourced movie from 2012. That net will start on this repeater at, 10:30, 10:35-ish tonight, Dallas time. This Monday's GeekNet, though, will feature a special guest net control station, Bill, N5BB. I don't think I'll be able to be there, but he is a geek, and he will do well. Join us this Monday at 7 p.m. on the 146.88 repeater. And most importantly, please don't forget that sign-ups are now open so that you can volunteer for the Dallas YMCA Turkey Trot and the Dallas Marathon. To volunteer for the Turkey Trot, go to w5fc.org, and to volunteer for the Dallas Marathon, yeah, the site is run by that one guy who likes awkward URLs. You have to go to your favorite search engine and search for Dallas Marathon Comms. Please do sign up. In fact, you really ought to sign up for both events if you possibly can. They're both a ton of fun. And at both events, if you're a beginner, we will make every effort to pair you up with someone more experienced so that you won't be alone, and you'll probably get more advice than you really want to hear. We hams are like that. Anyway, NT5TM, back to net.
Great. Thank you very much, Tony. And yeah, we'll miss you on GeekNet, but Bill will do a fine job. We'll geek out. All right. And I will do my best to be there. I love GeekNet. All right. Any other announcements for this evening's net? These could be ham, astronomical, or space, or general interest. If you have an announcement, please come now with your call sign. Not hearing any, so I'll go ahead with a few announcements. The AMSAT Radio Amateur Satellite Group has 3 nets available to Dallas residents. On Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. Central Time, you can check into the National AMSAT Net. Learn all about amateur satellites and how you can use them in amateur radio. The National AMSAT Net will bring the most up-to-date information on amateur satellites currently in use or new ones coming online. You will need Echolink installed and you registered. You can find the net under Groups and AMSAT. Also, a live audio link is available on their website at www.amsatnet.com. This net originates in Houston, Texas. 2 local nets are available in Dallas. Both of these nets encourage active check-ins. You can ask questions of the net control as well as others checked in. The AMSAT Net East, Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, is every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on this repeater, 146.880 megahertz, with a PL tone of 110.9. Tuesdays, Tom N5HYP is the net control. All are welcome to check in. The first Tuesday of the month is the DARC Club night, so there's no AMSAT East on that night. The Dallas AMSAT Net West is every Wednesday at 9 p.m. on the Arlington repeater, 147.140 megahertz, with a PL tone of 110.9 and a positive offset. The DARC hosts a number of nets on Monday evenings at 7 p.m. You can check the w5fc.org website. And as Tony mentioned, this coming Monday will be GeekNet. Geek Beyond Ham Radio. This Monday, Geek Out Beyond Ham Radio. We expand topics to include computers, science, space, news of the weird, and much more. No topic is off limits, just as long as it's geeky. And as Tony said, N5BB Bill will be the net control. If there's ever a fifth week, it'll be a surprise net. Saturdays are the night of nets, where we keep the airwaves buzzing until midnight. Here's the lineup. TechNet from 7 to 8 p.m., Q&A on all things ham radio related. There's also a swap meet, Rookie's Corner, news and information, and ham radio events and contests, alternating net control each week. And Skynet from 9 to 10:30 p.m. Astronomy, space, and space exploration are the topics. Also news and information, satellite passes, and the Constellation of the Week. Join this popular net about ham's second most favorite hobby, astronomy, alternating net controls. And as Tony mentioned, following Skynet at 10:30 is the Afterglow movie net from 10:30 to midnight. Will it be a hit or the dreaded miss? Thumbs up or thumbs down? You make the call. We watch a science fiction movie and then review it for about 90 minutes. More in a moment. First and third Sundays is the Dallas Amateur Radio Club meeting on the air. What's going on in your ham world? Tell us. Also learn about the club that maintains this popular repeater, the Dallas Amateur Radio Club. Club news and information, events, activities, including club meetings, lecture and lab, public service events, contests, and just general discussion. Everyone can check into this net. And daily is the ARRL net, National Traffic System Training Net, every night at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Learn how message traffic is handled on this formal training net. Newbies are welcome to check in, as this is a training net. The NTS also conducts an evening net on the Irving Whiskey Alpha 5 Charlie Kilo Foxtrot repeater 146.72 megahertz at 9:30 p.m. All are welcome to check in on any or all of these nets. And as promised, at 10:30 is the Afterglow movie net following Skynet. So at this time, I'm going to turn the net over to Tom, KE5ICX, to give us tonight's Afterglow info from KF5 PDS.
Thank you, Billy. This is KE5ICX, and tonight's highly accurate Afterglow info is as follows. The year is 1851, and it was a Thursday. Elvira was a television and film pop icon. Unfortunately, it would take another 120 years before the rest of the world would catch up with what that same television and pop culture vibe would be, much less identify an actual movie theater. But that wouldn't stop her. On the side of the road would be another pop icon, Lord Vladimir Hilsupis, who looked a lot like Richard O'Brien, a space alien of Rocky fame. No, we're talking about the other Rocky with singing and dancing, and not the 16 movie sequel series with Sylvester Stallone was looking to make. Anyways, it looked like singing and dancing just might win the day. Welcome to 1851. Join us for the privately funded Elvira's Haunted Hills, the original GoFundMe, where you mortgage your house and sell your kids on eBay so you can make a movie of your dreams, tonight at 10:30 p.m. You can get the link at the Skynet at W5FC. You'll find the hot link for Elvira's Haunted Hills if you want to take a quick gander before tonight's net, sometime around 10:30. Back to you, Billy. This is KE5ICX.
Thank you very much, Tom. And you can keep up with all the DARC events, nets, and activities by going to the club website, w5fc.org. So we currently have the following people checked in via the website. Let's see if we've got any new check-ins. No, everybody's checked in over there, so that's good. I'll now take additional voice check-ins. So if you have not checked into this evening's net, Go ahead with your call sign, name, and where you're transmitting from this evening. Okay, not hearing anyone, so we'll move on to our next segment, which is Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, where and when you can look through a telescope. So at this time, I'll turn the net over to Chaz, KF5JHA. The net is yours from KF5PDS.
Thank you, Billy. Good evening, everyone. This is Chaz, KF5JHA. The last Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas Club meeting was last night. The featured speaker was Ryan Bennett from UNT. Talked about the planetarium at UNT and also the Reef Astronomy program, which is an observing area, has telescopes and all sorts of different things. And it was a fun night to be able to explore that location. The next Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas Club meeting is going to be on November the 21st. It can be held at the University of Texas at Dallas at 7:30 p.m. and also held on Zoom. The featured speaker is going to be the folks from the Astrophotography Special Interest Group, and there's also Oh yeah, there's also a swap meet that night too. Oh well. So currently on the fourth Saturday of the month there is no scheduled stargazing. So to check out other things for the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas website, go to I am all fluttered up tonight. www.texasastro.org for up-to-date information and details about meeting and public observing sessions. I wish I could blame Bob the Cat, but he's not by the computer. This is KF5JHA.
Great, thanks, Chaz. And as you mentioned, texasastro.org is where you can find all that info. This is KF5PDS, Billy, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. Next up is National Space Society events and activities. So at this time, I'll turn the net over to Bill, N5BB. The net is yours from KF5PDS.
Thank you, Billy. This is November 5, Bravo, Bravo. I happen to be the National Space Society North Texas Chapter Vice President and the Membership Director. The National Space Society is a nonprofit group based in the U.S. which is interested in the exploration and development of space and the creation of a spacefaring civilization. Our local National Space Society chapter website is at ntx.nss.org. Our group also has an active Facebook page. Just type National Space Society of North Texas into the search box. The North Texas chapter of the National Space Society meets every month at 3:30 p.m. on the second Saturday afternoon. Excuse me. Let me start over again. The North Texas chapter of the National Space Society meets at 3:30 p.m. on the second Sunday afternoon of each month. The meeting location is Spring Creek Barbecue on the southwest corner of Highway 183 and Beltline Road in Irving. Our last meeting was on October the 12th, and the topic was near-Earth asteroids. What can we do about them? The next meeting will be on Sunday afternoon, November the 9th. In December, we'll have a holiday party, so we will not be meeting at that location. Our meetings are also available virtually. Contact Bill, November 5 Bravo Bravo, if you'd like to attend. On the last Friday evening of each month, from 6 to 8 p.m., the National Space Society North Texas chapter usually sponsors a social event called Space Rendezvous at a restaurant. The October 31st Space Rendezvous will be canceled due to the Halloween holiday. So, no Space Rendezvous this coming Friday. We will be skipping 1 week. If you have any questions about the National Space Society, please contact Bill, N5BB, at his QRZ-listed email address, or send him a message at space@byram.net. That's all I've got, Billy. This is N5BB. Back to net.
Great. Thank you very much, Bill. Next up is recent astronomical discoveries. So at this time, I will turn the net over to Tom, KE5ICX. The net is yours from KF5PDS.
All right, thank you, Billy. This is KE5ICX. Brenda's at a Halloween party tonight, so she won't be reading, but hopefully we'll hear her on maybe the Afterglow movie net later this evening. But she did offer this article from ScienceDaily.com this week, and it is the following. It says that dark matter might not be invisible after all. It could leave a hidden glow. Scientists believe that dark matter could leave faint colored traces on light, challenging the idea that it's completely invisible. Their models suggest future telescopes could detect these signatures, revolutionizing the search for the universe's missing mass. Dark matter, the mysterious substance thought to make up most of the universe, might not be completely invisible after all. New studies suggest it could leave behind a faint red or blue fingerprint in light that passes through regions filled with it. Researchers at the University of York propose that light could subtly change color when it encounters dark matter, offering a potential method for detecting it directly. This finding challenges the long-standing belief that dark matter and light do not interact in any measurable way. So rethinking the invisible force. Until now, dark matter has been known only through its gravitational influence, which holds galaxies together and shapes their structure. Because it neither emits nor reflects light, scientists have traditionally assumed it cannot be detected through optical means. The new work, however, suggests that this view might be incomplete. According to the York team, light traveling through space could acquire a slight red or blue tint depending on the kind of dark matter it encounters. Detecting these subtle variations could open a new window into studying the unseen material that dominates the cosmos. The research is based on a concept similar to the six-handshake rule. This is the idea that only two people are connected by a short chain of acquaintances. Scientists suggest that something comparable might occur among subatomic particles. Even if dark matter does not interact directly with light, it could still affect it indirectly through other particles. Certain dark matter candidates, called weakly interactive massive particles, or WIMPs, might influence light by connecting through a chain of intermediate particles such as the Higgs boson and the top quark. Dr. Bashkanoff, the University of York's School of Physics, Engineering, and Technology, explained it's a fairly unusual question to ask the scientific world because most researchers would agree that dark matter is dark. But we have shown that even dark matter at its darkest kind imaginable, it could still have a kind of color signature. He added, it's a fascinating idea, and what is even more exciting is that under certain conditions, this color might actually be detectable. With the right kind of next-generation telescopes, we could measure it. The means astronomy could tell us something completely new about the nature of dark matter, making the search for it much simpler. The study describes how these indirect interactions could be tested in the upcoming experiments, allowing scientists to eliminate certain dark matter models while refining others. The team also emphasizes the importance of incorporating these findings in the design of future telescopes. Dark matter remains one of physics' greatest mysteries, revealing itself only through its gravitational pull. Confirming these results could provide an entirely new approach to detecting it and deepen our understanding of how the universe is held together. Dr. Bashkinoff said, right now scientists are spending billions building different experiments, some to find WIMPs, others to find axions or dark photons. Our research shows we can narrow down where and how we should look in the sky, potentially saving time and helping to focus those efforts. And this is from a study that was published in the journal Physics Letters B, it's called. But you can read about it at ScienceDaily.com. That's also a great website. If you've never been there, you should check it. It's updated several times a day. Back to you, Billy. This is KE5ICX.
Great. Thank you very much, Tom. This is KFI-PDS Billy, your net control, for this session of the DARC Skynet. I don't see any new check-ins on the website, but I do see a new one on Echolink. Another Bill is online. Bill, if you'd like a chance to check in via voice over Echolink, I'll give you time to check in. If you don't have a microphone functioning, you can use the chat window. But I'll give you some space if you would like to check in. Well, I just looked over and saw that he's gone, so maybe he'll be back. Anyway, the next topic is discussion topic of the evening. So last net, I noticed that Brenda had done Here Comes Comet Lemmon, and I've been seeing a lot of great pictures of the comet on Facebook, so I wanted my topic tonight, has anyone seen it? If you've seen it, I have not. I have not had a chance to get out to look for it, and it's been raining. We've had a lot of storms this weekend, but I've been seeing some spectacular pictures, so I just wanted to open the net up to see if anyone wanted to share their Comet Lemmon story. Before I do that, let me just give you some information in case you're not familiar. C-2025A6 Lemmon is a non-periodic comet discovered by the Mount Lemmon survey in images obtained on January 3rd, 2025. It passed perihelion on November 8th. It made its closest approach to Earth on October 21st, and it says as of October 25th today, the comet is about apparent magnitude 4.3, and the nucleus and coma are visible in binoculars about 15 degrees to the upper left of Arcturus. And just as a guide, the handle of the Big Dipper points toward Arcturus, the saying arc to Arcturus. So I just wanted to open the net up to see if anybody had observations that they wanted to share and whether or not they've taken images and how those have come out. So if anyone would like to share any information of their observation of Comet Lemmon at this time, please come now with your call sign.
KF5JHA.
Great. Before I turn it over to Chaz, I do want to remind you, if you go over to the DARC Skynet on YouTube, Tom is doing a great slideshow over there, and he's got the information up about where to find Comet Lemmon. And you can see the Big Dipper, and it's got like previous nights, later nights. He's got a great graphic up right now if you want to go over to the DARC Skynet YouTube channel. All right, at this time, I'm going to turn the net over to Chaz, KF5JHA. Give us some info on Comet Lemmon. How's it going? Have you observed it, and what's it been like?
Yes, thank you very much, Billy. Just wanted to let you know, in the segment of Was Up, I've got several pictures I'm going to display about Comet Lemmon. There's also another comet in the evening sky, Comet Swan. I'll be talking about that and showing pictures of both of those in that segment. Now, you can see both of them easily in an astronomical camera called C-Star. That's what I use to take the images. And I've done the images from inside the city, and I've also gone out to a dark sky location at a state park and taken some images as well. But it is visible. You can't see it naked eye unless you're really far away from the city lights. I guess you can see it, but binoculars, you might be able to snag an image of it. But the astronomical cameras called C-Stars are taking images of it, even inside the city. So that's all I wanted to say for now, and I'll cover more of that in What's Up. This is KF5JHA, back to our net control.
Great. I look forward to seeing that, Chaz. And yeah, jump over to the YouTube channel, y'all, because he's going to show pictures. You definitely want to tune in for the Was Up segment of Skynet. All right, is there anyone else that would like to share their observations of Comet Lemmon and whether or not they've taken pictures, how those looked? Please come now with your call sign. Okay, not hearing any. So if you have not observed it, like me, if the clouds part, we get a shot at looking for it. Go out in the night sky on the path arc to Arcturus, look for the comet. It says its elongation is like 42 degrees, so that's really spectacular. I've been seeing some amazing images. So if you have not seen it yet, give it a shot. If you've never observed a comet, just have to be patient. Like Chaz said, get in a really dark sky, as dark as possible. Sometimes they are very faint to see, and you can see them in telescopes. The last comet that came around, I did a long exposure on my DSLR camera. It came out pretty good, but it was a little hard to track down. So they're easier to find in darker skies, but if you can see it, it's really something. So I encourage you to get out and go comet hunting. All right, since we don't have anybody else that has any Comet Lemmon stories to share, and I did not know about Comet Swan, so I look forward to seeing about observing Comet Swan too. So that was a perfect lead-in to Chaz's Was Up segment. So at this time, I will turn the net over to Chaz for Was Up. So turning the net over to KF5JHA from KF5PDS, the net is yours.
Thank you again, Billy. This is Chaz, KF5JHA. We call this segment of Skynet Was Up because it's all about what has gone on astronomically over the past couple of weeks and what will take place over the next couple of weeks and beyond. That was slide number 2. And Billy talked about our video version of Skynet. That's over on YouTube. Just go to w5fc.org and click on the link for the YouTube video version of Skynet, and you can watch what's going on. There's a lot of interesting pictures that's going to come up in just a matter of moments. Slide Master, slide number 3. By the way, our slide master is Tom. I want to thank him for doing that. Slide 3 shows you Comet C25A6, also known as Comet Lemmon. That's 2 M's. Is maybe bright enough to be seen in binoculars in the evening sky. I've not used binoculars, but I've taken the images by, with myself from Mesquite and also at other locations throughout North Texas. The one that you're seeing now was taken on October the 10th. SkyMaps.com has a finder chart on the comet and its current position on the star map. Right now it is visible in the northwestern evening sky, as Billy talked about. Slide Master, slide number 4. This is another image of Comet Lemmon taken by myself on October the 19th, just about a week ago. I did that picture from Lake Ray Hubbard, right here in the Metroplex. I was on the east side of Lake Hubbard looking over the west, so the shoreline was a couple of miles away, so the lights were not quite as much of a problem. And it's easier to see if you have a little bit darker conditions. Slide master, slide number 5. I have a friend that I've infected with C-Star astronomical cameras. His name is Peter Van Horn. He lives in Greenville, and this picture on slide number 5 is from his C-Star S50. He took that, let's see now, just a few nights ago. You can see the path of an airplane through the tail of the comet, and if you look carefully, below the comet is a faint path of a satellite. Yep, us astronomers are dealing with a lot of satellites in the sky. Yeah, there's thousands of Starlink satellites that sometimes get in the way of astronomical pictures. Slide master, slide number 6, please. Now, the label on slide 6 is incorrect. It says Comet Lemmon, but it's actually Comet Swan. I labeled it incorrectly. It's another comet in the evening sky on October the 17th. Again, that was about a week ago. It passed close by M16, the Eagle Nebula. You can see both the Eagle Nebula and Comet Swan in that image. Comet Swan is the fuzzy thing in the lower right image, and M16 is the reddish object in the upper left-hand side. So if you haven't seen it, yeah, Comet Swan is also visible. Slide master, slide number 7. Now on Wednesday, October the 22nd, I took a series of images of Comet Swan from right at Brookhaven campus of Dallas College. We have a very light-polluted location, and the lights from the buildings are spilling all over our observing site. But I took a series of 3 different images. On the left, that's the first picture I took. It was at 7:37 p.m., just a few minutes long. The middle picture was an image taken at 7:56 p.m., and the right image was taken at 8:10 p.m. You can see the comet has moved past a star over just a short period of time, about 35 minutes. It's easy to track its progress if you can image it. So, C-stars are not very expensive astronomical cameras. That's what I would suggest getting if you'd like to do this kind of thing too. Inside the city. This is KF5JJ, and this is Skynet. Slide master, slide number 8. Now, I've talked about the predicted nova of the star T Coronae Borealis, which may erupt at any time. It's really more than a year past due, according to some predictions. It's currently at a brightness around 10th magnitude. Just checked it a few minutes ago. It's much too faint to be able to see with just your 2 eyes. Now, T Coronae Borealis was supposed to go nowhere, like I said, more than a year ago. New predictions are November the 10th, that's just in a couple of weeks, or June the 25th of next year. We don't know when it's going to happen. Those are just predictions. But when it does go nova, T Coronae Borealis could become as bright as the North Star. Now, I can see the North Star with just my 2 eyes from my very light-polluted location here in Mesquite, Texas. Slide master, slide number 9. This image is from October the 23rd from spaceweather.com of the sun. The large sunspot complexes on the sun are so large at times that you can use your solar eclipse glasses to see them. No optical aid needed, just protect your eyes from the sun. The sun is near its 11-year solar maximum. We're not quite sure when the solar maximum will occur until after it happens. I just talked about the solar cycle about 5 months ago on Skynet. Slide master, slide number 10. On October the 21st, the moon was new, so the current phase of the moon is a waxing crescent moon. Might be able to see it through some holes in the clouds right now. First quarter moon is going to be on October the 29th in a few days. The full moon is on November the 5th. Also on November the 5th, the moon is at perigee, which is a point in the moon's orbit that is closest to the Earth at a distance of 356,833 kilometers. On the third quarter moon is on November the 11th. On November the 19th, the moon is at apogee, which is the point in the moon's orbit that is furthest from the Earth at a distance of 406,691 kilometers. New moon is on November the 20th. Slide Master, slide number 11. This will be a rapid-fire sequence of things. So on November the 1st, the moon and Saturn are in conjunction in the eastern evening sky. Slide Master, slide number 12. On November the 2nd, just a day later, Spica and Venus are in conjunction in the western evening sky. Oops, nope, that's not correct. Venus is still in the morning sky. Oops. Slide Master, slide number 13. On November the 6th, the moon and the Pleiades are in conjunction in the eastern morning sky. Actually, the Pleiades are almost overhead at that time on November the 6th. Slide Master, slide number 14. On November the 10th, the moon and Jupiter are in conjunction in the early morning sky. Right now, the planet Jupiter is almost straight overhead, just at dawn. Slide Master, slide number 15. On November the 11th, just after midnight, look for the moon and M44, which is also known as the Beehive Star Cluster. They're in conjunction in the sky. A pair of binoculars would be great to be able to take a look at the moon and the star cluster at the same time. Slide Master, slide number 16. On November the 11th, also in the evening sky, Mars and Mercury are in the conjunction in the southwestern sky. Well, let me see. Oh, slide Master, slide number 17. Now, do any of you out there in Radio Land have a question, or maybe need a fill on any of the information I've just given? Or maybe you just have a general astronomy question. Come now with your call sign if you have a question or need a fill. Okay, not hearing anyone. So as the moon waned last week, so do these words for this segment of Skynet. Stay safe, keep well, pray for our world. It's the only one where humans live right now. Until next time, actually I'll be doing another Skynet segment in a few minutes. Keep looking up so you have what's up. And this is KF5JHA, sending it back to our net control.
Great. Thank you very much, Chaz. I look forward to all those astronomical happenings. Lots of stuff going on in the sky. And I look forward to trying to spot the comets. All right. Let me go ahead and see. I checked the website check-in, and there's no one new checked in over there or on Echolink, but I wanted to see if there was anyone on RF that's out there that has not had a chance to check in yet. If you would like to check into this evening's net, please come now with your call sign name and where you're transmitting from this evening. Okay, not hearing anyone, so we'll go ahead with space exploration and space history. So at this time, I will turn the net over to Gus, W5GUS. The net is yours from KF5PDS.
Okay, thank you, Billy. W5GUS here with space exploration and space history and birthdays also. Speaking of comets and images of comets, an interstellar comet is dramatically jetting off ice and dust into space, a new image shows. This comet, called 31 Atlas, is sending out a jet of material towards the sun as our nearest star warms up some of its surface. The composite image shows the nucleus or icy, rocky center core of 31 Atlas as a large and black dot along with a white glow, the comet's coma or atmosphere. The jet is marked in purple and is blasting off toward the direction of our sun, which is typical behavior of comets in the solar system as well. 31 Atlas is only the third known interstellar object that has come through our solar system and is rapidly hurtling towards the sun for its closest approach on October 30th. The comet will come within 1.8 astronomical units, which is the distance between Earth and Sun-Earth distances between Earth and our Sun. It's 1 astronomical unit. Will become 1.8 within 1.8 astronomical units of our planet, making it visible in small telescopes before disappearing again into the dark. Okay, there's a Big Bang mystery. Neutrinos changing flavors, in quotes, could explain Big Bang mystery. A new study shows researchers in the U.S. and Japan have achieved the most precise measurements yet of the universe's most elusive particles, neutrinos, after they combined results from 2 major experiments. The joint study merged the results from the NOVA experiment in the U.S. and the T2K experiment in Japan to uncover details about how tiny neutrinos, also called ghost particles, behave and change their identity as they travel across vast distances. As per the research team, neutrinos are crucial to understanding the universe due to their ability to pass through matter almost undetected. They interact so rarely that billions stream through every person each second without leaving a trace. Yet much about them still remains unknown. And understanding how these particles work could help answer one of physics' biggest questions about why the universe is made mostly of matter instead of equal parts of matter and antimatter. Okay, and as promised, we'll move on to space-related birthdays. This is between October 10th and 19th. So let's see, October 19th. Okay, we'll start with October 19th. Charles Cormanda was born in 1952, October 19th, 1952. The flights he was on STS-114, the Discovery, which was the return to flight mission after the Columbia disaster. He served as a mission specialist and helped test new safety and repair techniques for the space shuttle. All right, October 20th, Tamara Jenigan, born in 1959, October 20th, 1959. She was on STS-40, 52, 67, 80, and STS-90. A veteran of 5 space flights, she accumulated over 62 days in space, participating in various research missions and serving as payload commander on her last 2 flights. All right, and October of 21st, Jean-Pierre Agnew was born in October 21st, 1948. He was in Soyuz, Mir mission Altar, Soyuz TM-29. He is a French astronaut who spent extensive time aboard the Mir space station. Okay, Marcia Ivins was 1951. She was on STS-32, STS-46, STS-61, 81, and 98. She flew on 5 space shuttle missions, primarily serving as a mission specialist with duties related to payload deployment and retrieval, as well as International Space Station assembly. All right, 1961, Frederick Sturchow was on flights STS-88, 105, 117, 128. He commanded his last two missions and piloted the first 2, which were all key missions for International Space Station assembly and resupply. October 22nd, let's see, Valerie Corzun was born in 1953. She was Soyuz TM-24, STS-111, STS-113, and she was a Russian cosmonaut. Actually, it was Valery, a Russian cosmonaut. He spent over a year in space across 2 long-duration missions, including commanding Mir and the ISS Expedition 5 crew. All right, on October 23rd, Mike Massimo was born in 1962. He was on STS-109, STS-125. He was a mission specialist on both flights. He conducted spacewalks to service and upgrade the Hubble Space Telescope. That was an important and very delicate mission. All right, October 24th in 1961, Susan Still Kilren was born. She was on STS-83, STS-94. She was the pilot for both missions, which were microgravity science laboratory flights, the second being a reflight of the first, whatever that means. Okay, in 1966, Jing Haipeng was in flights Shenzhou 7, Shenzhou 9, Shenzhou 11. He was a Chinese taikonaut and major general. He was part of China's first 3-person space flight. He carried the first female taikonaut into space and commanded a long-duration mission to Taikagong 2 Space Lab. Okay, October 25th, Vladimir Vysetin. He was in Soyuz T-114, Salyut 7. He was the commander of the mission to the Salyut 7 space station. And that was the last birthday. So we'll move on to this week in space history. Okay, October 19th, 1967, the Mariner 5 spacecraft flew by Venus. The probe was originally built as a backup for Mariner 4 Mars mission, but thanks to Mariner 4's success, Mariner 5 was modified to become a Venus mission. Mariner 5 launched from Cape Canaveral June 14, 67, and on October 19th at 1:43 p.m., it had its closest approach at about 2,500 miles above the surface of Venus. Mariner 5 was the second successful Venus flyby mission. Mariner 2 did that in December, 2nd of December of 62. And however, this accomplishment was overshadowed by the success of the USSR just a day earlier. On October 18th, 1967, Venera 4 successfully entered the atmosphere of Venus and transmitted data for 93 minutes as it descended under a parachute to the surface. It was the first spacecraft to transmit data from another planet's atmosphere. Contact with Mariner 5 was lost on December 4th in 67, but was temporarily regained on October 14th, 68, and is now in orbit around the November 24th. Venus was the first planet to be explored by a spacecraft. NASA's Mariner 2 successfully flew by and scanned the cloud-covered world in December of 62. Since then, numerous spacecrafts from the U.S. and other space agencies have explored Venus, including Magellan, which mapped the planet's surface with radar. Okay, then Apollo 12 is next. On November 24th, 69, Apollo 12 splashed down at about 3 p.m. near American Samoa in the Pacific Ocean. This wrapped up the second successful crewed lunar landing mission, boasting a pinpoint landing by CDR Charles Pete Conrad and LMP Alan Bean in the Ocean of Storms region near Surveyor 3, while Command Pilot Richard Gordon orbited in the Yankee Clipper 60 miles above. All right, DARC launched November of 24, 2021. Double Asteroid Redirection Test, or DART, D-A-R-T, was a NASA space mission aimed at testing a method of planetary defense against near-Earth objects. It was designed to assess how much spacecraft impact deflects an asteroid through its transfer of momentum when hitting the asteroid head-on. The selected target asteroid, Dimorphos, is a minor planet moon of the asteroid Didymos. Neither asteroid poses an impact threat to Earth. But DART was launched on 24 November 2021, and the spacecraft successfully collided with Dimorphos on the 26th of September 22, about 11 million kilometers or 6.8 million miles from Earth. The collision shortened Dimorphos' orbit by 32 minutes, greatly in excess of the predefined success threshold of 73 seconds. DART's success in deflecting Dimorphos was due to the momentum transfer associated with the recoil of the ejected debris, which were substantially larger than that caused by the impact itself. Okay, and with that was the last thing of the space of this segment. So it's back to net control and getting ready for Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week. So back to you, Billy, W5GUS.
Great, thank you, Gus. This is KF5PDS Billy, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. And I just wanted to provide a little bit more information on that STS-94. That marked the first reflight. It was the same vehicle, crew, and payloads that followed the shortened STS-83 mission due to indications of a fuel cell problem. And the primary payload was the Microgravity Science Laboratory, MSL-1. So STS-94 was a complete reflight of STS-83. They kept the same vehicle, the same crew, and the same payload, and they just flew it up again. So that was the first reflight. So that's what that meant. And I just wanted to find out for my own curiosity, but I figured I would just throw that out there. All right, so next up, let me see if there's anyone checked in On the club website check-in list, no. Oh yes, I just saw one pop up. KB9 SOK Sean over in Fort Worth, Over Air Radio. Welcome, Sean. Is there anyone over Air Voice that would like to check in? I don't see anything new on Echolink, but if there's anyone on RF that would like to check in, please come now with your call sign name and where you're transmitting from.
This is Brian in Terrell, K9AHO. I guess that was all you needed, K9AHO.
Yep, that's all I needed. K9AHO, Brian over in Terrell. Welcome to Skynet. Is there anyone else that would like to check in before we move over to our next segment? If so, please come now with your call sign name, where you're transmitting from. Not hearing anyone else that would like to check in, so we will move over to Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week. So again, I will return the net to Chaz and Bob the Cat. KF5JHA, Chaz, the net is yours from KF5PDS.
Thank you, Billy. We can't forget about Bob. He's laying right beside the computer, so if he wakes up, he's acting like he's napping. If he wakes up and starts trying to climb over the keyboard, that could be a problem, yeah. Slide Masters, slide number 19. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week is named in honor of Silent Key, Carolyn, KC50ZT. Carolyn contributed to Skynet each week, almost from its beginning in 2012 until May of 2019, with a detailed look at one particular constellation each week. Since there are about 52 easily visible constellations seen over North Texas throughout the year out of the 88 constellations, so Miss Carolyn covered the entire sky as seen over North Texas in a year. And I myself have added several more constellations because, well, sometimes we can see more than one in the sky easily, and so I think we're up to about 70 different constellations out of the 88 total. Now, in Miss Carolyn's honor, we've continued that tradition of a constellation per week and named this segment after her. Miss Carolyn's Constellation this week. This week is Cepheus the King. Yes, I have Bob the Cat walking around the computer right now. And this is KF5JJ, and this is Skynet. Let me refresh you about the myth surrounding Cepheus. Cepheus' wife, Cassiopeia, was a very vain woman. She boasted that she was more beautiful than the sea nymphs. Sea nymphs were one of the wives of the, well, one of the daughters of the wife of the sea god Poseidon. This angered the sea nymphs and Poseidon, who also sent a monster representing the constellation of Cepheus, the sea monster, to ravage the coast. Some versions say that Cassiopeia bragged that her daughter Andromeda was more beautiful than the sea nymph. Cepheus turned to an oracle for advice to figure out how to prevent the disaster of the monster ravaging the coast. And the oracle told him that the only way to appease Poseidon was to sacrifice his daughter Andromeda to the monster. Desperate, Cepheus and Cassiopeia did this, leaving their daughter chained to a rock for Cepheus, the sea monster, to find. Luckily, the hero, Perseus, came flying by on a winged horse named Pegasus, and he found the princess, rescued her, and killed the sea monster. Later, he married Andromeda, and of course, they lived happily ever after. All 6 of the main characters in this story are constellations. Slide Masters, slide number 20, the jokes of the week. Now, if you don't know, the jokes of the week are related to the constellation of the week, and if you're over on Echolink, you're welcome to comment about the jokes. If you're over here, you just have to laugh and scream at the box that I'm talking through. What is the king of all tools? The ruler. Okay, that's, yeah, okay. What is it called when a king and a queen have no children? It's called a receding airline instead of hairline. The fattest king in King Arthur's court was at the round table was circumference. He acquired his size from too much pie. Okay, that was a math joke. What was King Midas's favorite pet? A golden retriever, of course. Why was the king wet? Because he was the reigning monarch. Isn't that funny? Because of the rain we've had this weekend. And the last one in this segment, the last joke in this segment, once there was a king only 12 inches tall. How would you fill in the blank? He was a lousy king, but he made a great ruler. And this is KF5JJ, and this is Skynet. Slide Master, slide number 21. I'd like to talk about a few stars in the sky in the constellation of Cepheus. Delta Cephei serves as the prototype of a classification of stars called the Cepheid variables, or just simply Cepheid. The brighter the star, the longer its period of variability. Delta Cepheus variations in luminosity and spectral type result in the pulsation of the star. The star's spectral class varies from an F5 to a G3 over a period of 5.36634 days. 5 days, 8 hours, 47 minutes, and 32 seconds. Yep, we can be pretty precise about that. A Cepheid variable is a pulsating variable that is defined relationship between its pulsation period and its actual luminosity. I just told you about that relationship. It's important because we can calculate its actual luminosity once you've timed its pulsation of its period. Then we compare it to its apparent luminosity, as seen from the Earth, to its actual luminosity. And with this, we can determine the distance of the star. Delta Cephei itself has been computed to have just over 1,000 light years in distance. As a double star, Delta is also very easy to split at low power. The fainter the member appears to have a slightly variable difference in color than the primary being a pale yellow. The comparison star is slightly a bluish green. It reminds some people of Alberio and Cygnus the Swan, but it's not nearly as contrasty. Like Alberio, the two stars in Delta Cephei are generally believed to be a true physical pair, even though no orbital motion has been observed, because both stars share the same proper motion. Gamma Cephei, notable for the fact that it's due to its precession, will become a pole star in about 2,000 years. In a telescope, Gamma looks white with a faint tinge of yellow color. Mu Cephei, the garnet star, is so named by Herschel, who also noted its red color. To honor its discoverer, many sources refer to Mu as the Herschel's garnet star. The star looks noticeable red or orange, even in a finer scope. Through a main scope, it is a reddish-orange in color. It is a good reason that Mu is perhaps the reddest star visible to the naked eye from the northern latitudes. It is a red supergiant star, and so it has irregular variability. In this regard, it's similar to Betelgeuse, or Betelgeuse, depending on how you want to pronounce it, which is also an irregular variable, red supergiant. However, it is believed to be much larger than Betelgeuse, which is larger than Mars' orbit, if you put it the location as our sun. As Dave Hutchinson writes, in the spectrum, at about 22 astronomical units in diameter, if Mu were plopped into our solar system, it would extend outwards over the orbit of Saturn. That's a big star. Slide Master, slide number 22. IC, which stands for Index Catalog 1396, is the Elephant Trunk Nebula. My friend Peter Van Horn, that I showed you a picture of a comet, he also took a picture of Elephant Trunk Nebula just a couple of weeks ago. It's a large emission nebula which involved open star cluster lying south of the Herschel Garnet star. The total integrated visual magnitude of IC 1396 is about 3.5, which sounds fairly bright, but it's spread across an area of the sky about 3 degrees in diameter, which means it's relatively low surface brightness. So it's hard to image. So the embedded open cluster is easy to see. The nebula itself is a challenge to detect visually, requiring very dark, transparent skies. Slide master, slide number 23. NGC, which stands for New General Catalog 188, or Caldwell Object Number 1, is a faint cluster, easily missed, and only being 4 degrees from Polaris, resides in an area of the sky that is often overlooked. NGC 188 contains about 150 to 200 stars, but many of them are on the faint side, going down to 18th magnitude, which is too faint to even image in a lot of telescopes. It also spans a quarter of a degree of the sky, so it's best observed in large aperture and low-powered telescopes. Slide master, slide number 24. NGC 40, or Caldwell Object Number 2, is the Bow Tie Nebula, a planetary nebula so named because its structures within resembles the shape of a bow tie. Well, that makes sense. Though some sharp-eyed observers, like Stephen James Amir, have been able to see some structure in the nebula, the actual bow tie shape is not apparent visually, but it's only brought out by exposures on photos. And this is KF5, JHA, and this is Skynet. Slide master, slide number 25. Now, there's a few more Astronomical League observing program objects in the constellation of Cepheus the King. I've given you just a sampling of some of those objects. The Astronomical League has, at last count, 96 different observing programs, most of which have about 100 objects. Now, if you observe just 10 different objects in an observing program each month, you can earn an observing certificate and a pen from the Astronomical League in about a year. Slide master, slide number 26, and that is Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week, Cepheus the King. I want to thank my friends Dave Hutchinson and Dennis Harwell for the research and words on deep sky objects that I use, borrow, and steal for every Skynet. I also sometimes use the website constellation-guide.com for information. Next week, I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about because I forgot to put that constellation in. So this is KF5JHA, Chaz saying goodnight at 73, back to our net control. I want to thank Billy and Gus and Tom for all the work they put into Skynet.
Well, you're very welcome, Chaz, and we appreciate all that you do, everything that you bring with What's Up and Carolyn's Constellation of the Week. So we greatly appreciate you, and we appreciate Bob, too. Bob, we know you're there, and so we know you're a part of things, too. All right, this is KF5PDS, Billy, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. I was seeing someone new check in over there on Echolink, so if you would like to transmit and check in via voice over Echolink, I will give you some time to check in. So if you would, please come now with your call sign name, where you're transmitting from. Well, I just looked and they're gone, so maybe they'll come back. All right, if there's anyone out there on RF that would like to check in, I don't see any new check-ins on our website, but if you're out there on RF and you would like to check in before we move on to our next segments, please come now with your call sign, name, and where you're transmitting from. Okay, didn't pick up anything there. So we'll move on to our next two segments. Tom, KE5ICX, you have my permission to do these back-to-back space launches for the week and visible satellite passages over the next couple of days. So I will turn the net over to you. So this is to Tom, KE5ICX from KF5PDS.
Thank you, Billy. This is KE5ICX again. Let's see. We have October 27th, a couple days from now, Falcon 9 launch, Starlink 11-21. This is from SLC-4E at Vandenberg in California. This will be a launch of 28 Starlink V2 mini satellites into low Earth orbit about 8 minutes after liftoff. First stage booster. This one, D1082, launching for the 17th time. Will land on a drone ship. Of course, I Still Love You, positioned in the Pacific Ocean. October 28th, Falcon 9, Starlink 10-37. This one will be from SLC-40 at Cape Canaveral in Florida. It will launch 29 Starlink V2 mini satellites into low Earth orbit. A little more than 8 minutes after liftoff, everyone together. First stage booster, this one D1083, launching for the 15th time. Will land on a drone ship. Just read the instructions in the Atlantic Ocean. October 30th. Falcon 9, Starlink 11-23. This will launch from SLC-4E in Vandenberg. This will be 28 Starlink V2 mini satellites, low Earth orbit. D1063 will be the returning first stage. It will be the 29th time for it, and it will be on the ship, Of Course I Still Love You, position in the Pacific Ocean. We have New Glenn Escapade launching. We don't know exactly when. This will be in fall of 2025. This will be from Launch Complex 36 in Cape Canaveral. The Blue Origin New Glenn rocket will pair of identical spacecraft on NASA's Escape and Plasma Acceleration and Dynamic Explorers, or ESCAPADE, mission. The two satellites named Blue and Gold will make a roughly 11-month journey to Mars, where they will perform about an 11-month science mission while orbiting the red planet. Blue and Gold were manufactured by Rocket Lab over 3.5 years and carry science experiments from several universities. This launch of New Glenn will also feature a landing attempt on a landing barge in the Atlantic Ocean. Then we have, November 2025, Falcon 9 Sentinel-6B will launch. This will be from SLC-4E at Vandenberg. It will be a second of two satellite Sentinel-6 series. This is a $94 million NASA-awarded fixed-price contract for launch in 2022. The Sentinel-6B will use a radar altimeter to bounce signals off the ocean surface and deliver continuity of ocean topography measurements, according to NASA. The mission is designed through a partnership between NASA, ESA, and the European Organization for Exploration of Meteorological Studies. November 3rd will be an Atlas V launch of Viasat 3 F2. This is from SLC-41 at Cape Canaveral. This will launch an Atlas V rocket in the 551 configuration to support the launch of Viasat's 3 Flight 2 satellite. The 6-ton spacecraft is designed to provide download speeds of more than 100 megabytes per second and operate in the Ka band frequency. So it was built by Viasat on Boeing's 702MP Plus platform. Somebody must want to know that. November 4th will be an Ariane 6 launch of Sentinel-1D. This is from Europe's spaceport Kourou, French Guiana. The Ariane 6 rocket will, designation VA-265, will launch the Sentinel-1D satellite into sun-synchronous orbit at an altitude of 431 miles. Sentinel-1D is part of the Earth observation component of the European Union's space program. Now, on to satellite passages over the next couple of days. I have a few for the ISS. Let me tell you what those are. We have October 31st. This one is west, reaches highest point at 716 in the northeast. It'll fall to the east at 719. November 1st has another good one, minus 1.1 magnitude. This one at 6:26 a.m. out of the north. It reaches highest point at 15 degrees. A little low, but you still see it at 6:28. And it'll fall to the east-northeast at 6:30 about 10 degrees. Then November 2nd, we have a really good pass. This one is minus 3.6 magnitude. Mark your calendars for this one. 6:13 a.m. out of the northwest to reach its highest point at 6:17 at 77 degrees in the northeast, and it will fall to the southeast at 6:20. Now we'll move on to the Tiangong Chinese space station. It's currently in orbit with 3 tachinauts on board. We have 2 good passes. One is on October 31st, minus 2.2 magnitude. This is at 1942 out of the southwest. This one will also reach a good high point, 1945 at 76 degrees to the south-southeast, and it will fall 1946 to the east-northeast. That will go into shadow, but it's still an excellent pass. November 2nd also shows a pretty good pass, minus 1.7 magnitude at 18:19 in the evening. It'll fall, it will be at its highest point at 55 degrees at 18:22, and it will fall to the northeast at 18:25, around 15 degrees. So those are all the good passes. We got some decent ones this week. Back to you, Billy. This is KE5 ICX.
Great. Thank you very much, Tom. This is KF5 PDS Billy, your net control, for this session of the DARC Skynet. All right, I don't see anyone new over on Echolink or over on our website check-in, but I'll go ahead and take a final round of RF check-ins. If you have not checked into this evening's net and you would like to get in for the count, please come now with your call sign name, where you're transmitting from. This will be final check-in round, last call for check-ins.
Kilo Juliet 5, Juliet Alpha Kilo, Nick in McKinney.
All right, copy that. Kilo Juliet 5 Juliet Alpha Kilo, Nick over in McKinney. Thanks for checking into Skynet. Do we have any other check-ins? Last call for check-ins. Okay, we'll move on to our 73 round. Are there any checked-in stations with other remarks or questions? Does anyone need any fills? All right, so tonight we had 20 hams participating on the air. Thank you to all who checked in this evening. We hope you'll join us here next week and every Saturday night at 9 p.m. to discuss astronomy, space, and space exploration. On this net, the sky is never the limit. We're always looking for net control stations for this and all the other DARC nets. If you would like to try your hand at this, contact any of the net controls by sending an email to nets@w5fc.org. You can follow topics and discussion about this net and astronomy in general on Facebook and X, as well as our audio and video streams, video archives, and other useful internet resources by going to w5fc.org at the conclusion of this net. So until next Saturday night, this is KF5PDS, Billy, and I'll be closing the net at 22:29 local time and returning the repeater to normal amateur use. 73, everybody, and enjoy the evening discovering the universe. And remember, in about 5 minutes, the Afterglow movie net will be starting up, where tonight's discussion will be about Elvira's Haunted Hills from 2012. 73, everybody.
I'm completely operational and all my circuits are functioning perfectly.
Afterglow Movie Net.
Okay, it's been about about 5 minutes. You should have been able to make your microwave popcorn and come back to the radio. And we're continuing our horror, I guess, comedy approach to movies this month, since it is the spooky month of October. And we have some spooky movies, not from the standpoint of them being scary as so much as being kind of, spookily done, maybe unintentionally that way. This week's movie is Elvira's Haunted Hills. Originally thought it was 2012. Actually, it was 2001 is when this movie came out. Somebody had incorrectly said it as 2012, and one of the sites that I went to, I found that it was incorrect. It's actually much earlier, 2001, so about 10, 11 years earlier. It's an American comedy horror film directed by Sam Irvin and written by Cassandra Peterson, that's Elvira, by the way, and John Paragon. The second film featuring Peterson in the title role after the 1980 theatrical release, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. It also stars Richard O'Brien of Rocky Horror Picture fame, Mary Shearer, and Scott Adkison. Adkison, I believe, was an actor in some of the Vincent Price films. I could be wrong about that. Plot is, in 1851, the Carpathian Mountains of Romania, Elvira and her maid-servant Zuzu, played by Mary Jo Smith, on their way to a Can-Can review, or as it was called in the film, I Can-Can, in Paris, gets kicked out of an inn for a slight monetary discrepancy. After making their way out of the village, they are rescued by Dr. Bradley, who takes them to a stay at Castle Cepheus in the hills high above the village. While there, Elvira meets the residents and discovers that she happens to resemble the deceased former wife of his lordship, the Count Vladimir Cepheus. Now, some of the production notes, I think, are actually better than the movie itself. It says here, Elvira's Haunted Hills was independently made and privately funded. Peterson and then-husband Mark Pearson mortgaged their house and the apartment building they co-owned to raise $1 million with donations from relatives providing the remaining $500,000. Filming took place in Transylvania, Romania, and promoted at film festivals and horror sci-fi conventions. The film parodies the Roger Corman-directed Edgar Allan Poe films of the early 1950s, dedicates the memory of the then recently deceased Vincent Price, as well as British horror films from Hammer Studios. Atkinson's character is clearly evocative of Price, who starred in many of Poe's films. The film opened on July 5th, 2001, weekend at the La Mille Fairfax Cinemas in Los Angeles, after premiering at the International Rocky Horror Fan Convention of June 23rd, 2001. It was released direct-to-video on October 31st, 2002. And here are the reviews. On the review aggregator website, Rotten Tomatoes gave it 71% of 14 critics' reviews as positive. Metacritic gave it a weighted average of 48 out of 100, based on 7 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. In an unfavorable review, Ty Burr from the Boston Globe rated it as a floppy slapstick throwback to the long-gone bottom-of-the-bill fare like The Ghost of Mr. Chicken. I didn't think that was a bad film. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. In his review for the New York Post, Lou Lumenick wrote that it's, quote, more entertaining than much of the big studio schlock out there, end quote. In Jane at DVD Talk in 2011 said, if it isn't a classic, it's amusing enough for what it is, and that's a playful, harmlessly sexy parody. Also in 2011, IGN called it a mess. It holds a small place in my heart as the first film I ever walked out on. But if you're an Elvira fan, it's a must-watch. Cody Hammer of Joblo.com wrote, Haunted Hills is seen as inferior, but the truth is, it's just different. But is it different enough? That's the question, right? That's it there. Relatively short. It's from Wikipedia, in case you were guessing that it was from Wikipedia. You would be right. And with that, we'll go ahead and see if anybody actually stayed up and watched this film this week. I know a few people were out and about last night and watched it with me. I managed to stay awake through the whole thing. Amazing. 90 minutes long, so not too bad. Budget of $1.5 million. Hard to believe that they could make it. It actually looked pretty good. Production value-wise, it looked good for $1.5 million in 2001. And with that, I'll go ahead and take check-ins. We'll be talking about the film. We'll be talking about plot, followed by characterization, followed by acting and special effects and music and all that jazz. So, please come with your call sign, your name, and did you see the film? Tonight, Elvira's Haunted Hills from 2001. Here we go.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike, Tony in Dallas. I saw most of it.
K9AHO, Brian and Terrell. I didn't see it, but I'll be listening with interest. K9AHO.
I think it's going to be another one of those. Let's see. I've got NT5TM, Tony in Dallas. Yes, you saw the film. K9HO, Brian, also in Dallas. No, he didn't see the film. Anyone else want to check in? Please come now. Well, I guess it could be one of those. We may have to reconsider doing these anymore. That's not a very good showing, but let's find out if we can drum up some business. NT5TM, Tony, you're the only guy, and me, so at least for now, tell us, what did you think about the plot for tonight's movie, Elvira's Haunted Hills?
Well, thank you, Tom. I don't know how many people were on the Facebook group yesterday, but whoever was should, I hope, check in. You know, my expectations for this were very limited and specific, and it met them perfectly. At least I'm about an hour and 5 minutes into it. It has the plot sophistication of a really good, like, campfire sketch performed by a bunch of kids. It's, you know, the sex is harmless and flirty, the violence is goofy. You know, it's just kind of a long, extended comedy sketch with little funny notes, like, you know, the enormous weight of Elvira's makeup case, because, yeah, the character is famous for wearing an insane amount of makeup. You know, I guess the music version would be Dolly Parton's tour bus, followed by the bus with all of Dolly Parton's wigs. So yeah, oh, hi Ferdinand. Ferdinand would like to say hi. So yeah, I thought it was pleasant. I mean, the plot wasn't riveting, but I kept watching just so I could have another smile. So I thought it did its job, and it was just about exactly what I expected, at least. So, I mean, maybe the last 28 minutes will get really gory or something else will go wrong. But so far it's been the sort of pleasant fluff with lots of smiles that I was expecting to see. NT5TM.
Okay, thank you, Tony. I think that's a pretty fair assessment. Anyone else want to check in? Now, they're talking about tonight's movie, Elvira's Haunted Hills. Not to be confused with the Charlie Brown, It's a Great Pumpkin. Okay, it's going to be one of those. Well, Brian, you checked in, K9AHO. You didn't see the movie, and that's perfectly okay. Do you have a favorite horror or spooky movie that you would like to tell us about? Something that you always watch this time of the year. Let's go ahead and go in that direction. I'll let you know if it's a good movie or not. Even if you say it's a good one. I'll probably say it's a good one too, but then we'll have something to talk about anyway. But go ahead. You got a favorite horror film that you watch this time of the year?
Well, I'm not a big fan of the horror genre per se, but I have to say that one of my favorite movies that kind of creeped me out a little bit was an old movie from the 70s called The Fog. I don't know if you guys saw that one, but I remember seeing it at my parents' house when I was fairly young, late at night, and it just absolutely creeped me out in only the best of ways. K9AHO.
Good choice, Brian. Well, that's interesting because I saw The Fog in a movie theater. Now, it's been so many years ago, I don't remember. I did see it in a movie theater. It was a matinee in the Dearborn Theater, which is where I went to school, Dearborn, Michigan. Well, I lived in Dearborn. I went to school there, too, because of a kid. And I think it was 75 cents to get in. That's how long ago that was. It's 70-something. That movie came out. I remember the fog part. I don't remember anything about it beyond that, but I remember it was cheap to get in. It was a double feature. I don't remember what the other film was. I think we used to go to the matinees on Saturdays, and because it was cheap, and you could get in for 75 cents if you were 12 or under. Well, I got a little older than 12 after a while, so I just kind of raised my voice a little bit and stoop over where the box office was, which is the old traditional box office with the glass aquarium that the poor lady had to sit in. It was always a lady, by the way. And she'd ask you, I just say one, please. I'd never say that it was for a child or an adult. I just say one, and I could get in. But the adult admission was only $1.25, so it wasn't too bad. But I remember that. I don't remember anything about the film, unfortunately. I do remember one of the double features with Hitler rising from the dead or something. That was another great film, sort of, not really. But at any rate, yeah. I watched this week a film called Shock Treatment, which actually I watched last night. It did have our Richard O'Brien in it, who played Riff Raff in Rocky Horror Picture Show. He also produced that movie, which turned out to be strangely fun. It was kind of a sequel to Rocky Horror Picture Show with Brad and Janet, a recast with different people. It had Nell in it and Riff Raff and that, but they were playing new characters in it. It even had the narrator in it as well, playing. It has to do with reality or non-reality TV. You decide what it is. With a bunch of really good songs in it, but it was not a critical or popular hit, unfortunately. I wish I had picked it, but I don't think it's available anyplace for free right now, but probably because of the holidays. But if you do get a chance to see it, it's definitely worth your time. It's a fun film. I rather enjoyed it. Now, on to this film, Elvira's Haunted Hills. Let me reset for a sec. And this is KE5ICX. I was hoping for something a little more than it was. I guess I was hoping for a Young Frankenstein type film, Mel Brooks style. We got sort of that, I think, for production values, which I guess we saved for the third part, but I don't think it's going to last very long tonight. But I thought from a production standpoint, it looked pretty darn good. And it looked like they'd found a real castle someplace or had created a set worthy enough to be convincing enough to support the story such as it is. The bottom of the barrel slapstick, as it was called, I would agree there was a little bit of that, but it's okay. I didn't mind that so much. I thought, though, much like Rocky Horror Picture Show, Elvira wasn't a great actress or a great singer, but good enough. They did a vaudeville number, which I actually enjoyed. I thought that was fun. They did a few things with the characters that was interesting, and the characters were enjoyable. It's just that they didn't have a lot of material to work with. The jokes were fair to Midland, and I think I read in there, it sort of reminded me, oh no, I think you mentioned it's like something some of the you might have done in high school or junior high or something. That's kind of the level we were talking about without being offensive, and it was okay. I had read too that the first movie that she had done was much better, so I probably will go back and watch the earlier one. What was that thing called? At any rate, whatever the first film was that's got better reviews, it might be worth watching just for that. It was mildly entertaining and kept me awake for a whole 90 minutes. That's pretty tough. That's a tall order for me, especially on a Friday night. I'm old and tired very easily. If I'm not in bed by 9 o'clock, you better entertain me till 9:30, and then I go to bed at 9:30. All right, well, I'm going to give it a shot and see if anyone else wants to check in. Anyone else want to join us this evening? In fact, I will open it up. If you have a favorite spooky movie tonight, if you haven't seen anything, that's fine. You can talk about whatever movie you found fun. Let's make this one open to anybody that is listening. Well, it's always open to anybody, but let's give an opportunity for you to tout your favorite horror movie, comedy movie during the holiday season, which is this holiday season, which is October, and the spooky Halloween type theme. Anyone out there who would like to join us, please come with your call sign now, and we'll go down the list.
Well, I'd like to get on this list too. NT5TM.
Okay, well, it could be one of those tonight. I can't even get him to come out of the woodwork. So, Tony, you're up. Go ahead.
Man, I would love to watch Young Frankenstein again. I didn't really think this would rise to that level, but that I would have been amazed if it had, and I would have you wouldn't be able to make me stop talking about it. Regarding the Elvira movie, I actually did like the little trope where characters kept greeting each other by screaming. At one point, she even screamed when she saw a little white fluffy bunny rabbit, so that kept making me smile. But a spooky movie, probably, I don't really like gore. I'm not into slasher movies, but I sure do like a sense of dread, and I think my favorite movie for that is the Donald Sutherland Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That is a genuinely spooky movie that I genuinely like quite a lot. NT5TM. Oh, and I will try to see The Fog. I've heard of that before, but never seen it. So thank you for that suggestion. NT5TM.
Yeah, we did Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the remake here a few years ago. There's there's a city hall. Is it L.A.? I'm not sure. And I thought that it had these trees out front, and I thought, boy, those are really spooky-looking trees or bushes or whatever the heck it was. They look very otherworldly, and we find out that, you know, it's the end of the world and all of the body snatchers have taken over. And I thought that was a set dressing, and as it turned out, no, those are the real trees in front of the thing. They're really weird looking, and I don't know what they are. I haven't seen them anywhere, anyplace else, but yeah. And of course, the thing you do is whenever you go to the movie theater, you know, and we would do this too. Maybe you recall that when we do the Afterglow movie net and go to a movie together, occasionally we go out and do the Donald Sutherland thing and point and hiss at each other as we walked into the theater. People gave us a wide berth, and it was great because we could all sit together. That was important. Oh my, we got an Amber Alert down here from Justisburg, Texas. 2008 BMW 328i and a Colorado license plate. So keep a look out for an 11-year-old and this person with a BMW. Oh well. And the helicopter just took off next door too. We got a hospital right across the street from me. So I don't know. That is a good movie. I like that one a lot. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Both of them actually. The original was excellent too. But I like both films. It's very seldom that a remake is actually better.
K9AHO, recheck.
Hey, Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, a couple of other movies that I would put into the scary category, although I don't know if they would necessarily be the horror genre exactly. I think the movie that freaked me out the most in my entire life was when I was very small. I think I was 5 years old, and believe it or not, I saw it at church. It was a movie called I Wish They'd All Been Ready, and it had scenes of decapitation, and I just got completely freaked out. I remember we used to go swimming at the local pool every Wednesday night, and we had seen it, I think, Tuesday evening, and I remember just being absolutely nauseous for days after that. So it's just amazing, you know, how topics like that, when you're young and you see them and you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe the world is like this. But you know, fast forwarding, I think a movie that I really enjoyed that was scary a little bit was Prometheus. You know, with the aliens and so forth. Those aliens, H.R. Geiger inspired, they are truly creepy. And anyway, I think I probably enjoy watching that one and anything in the Alien series. K9AHO.
Yeah, that's a good choice. It's funny you were saying that because just before you mentioned the film, I was looking up. I wanted to do a quick refresher, and my favorite from that series was what I was going to make as a really scary film, and that's Aliens, plural, Aliens, the James Cameron sequel. You know, we're familiar with Ridley Scott having done the original and some of the sequel stuff, although he got out of it for a while simply because those movies got so bad after a while. Until the reboot and he took over again, they kind of lost their luster. But I found Aliens to be really good. I like that film. It really gives me goosebumps watching this thing because you're waiting. There's a slow burn, and then all of a sudden, bam, there it is, and it takes off. And that sci-fi horror genre was back big time. So I really enjoyed that film. I think out of the Alien series, out of the ones that I've seen, I don't think I've seen everything. I think I've seen all the ones that don't have the verses against, stuff. But they're all good. Prometheus was pretty good. I thought that was very interesting, and it showed how stupid all of the astronauts are, or whatever you want to call them. They all do dumb things. The new series, Alien Earth, they have not to spoil it, it's definitely worth watching. Ridley Scott has brought back the terror and the scariness that goes with this sort of thing. He also brought back the stupidness of sort of this laissez-faire attitude when it comes to alien technologies, and not thinking that it's dangerous and hanging around and getting infected and otherwise gooed up by the alien forces that are there, these extraterrestrials, little creatures. The new one is cute. They got a little eye creature that burrows into your skull. It's really a cute little thing. It's got little eyes and everything, and it goes in. It's got little octopus hands, and I can see it as a little plushie the kids will love. You give it to them just before they go to bed, and when they wake up in a nightmare, they'll have the little eye thing right next to them, so they get the nightmare a second time. But it'll be soft and cute. I don't know, if you get a chance, watch Alien Earth. It's pretty good. I think it's 10 episodes this first season. So you get like 10 hours of a movie, which may seem a little long, and it does feel a little long, but you can fast forward through anything that's boring to you and not miss anything. They're pretty good, but my favorite is Aliens, I have to say. Anyone else out there got any comments or comments from the three, from you guys? You can say something. I think this is going to be it for tonight.
Well, Tom, thank you for being here. I'm sorry more people didn't join us. NT5TN.
You guys want to talk about any of the special effects or anything? Oh, now we're getting a special test of the emergency broadcast system now. I can't get enough of the emergency stuff today. But anyone else got any comments they want to add on films or spooky stuff? Something that scared you as a kid, maybe? Come now.
K9AHO, comment.
Go ahead, Brian.
I was just thinking a little bit about, the low turnout on this, and we did have a series of storms move through, and I don't know how many ham radio operators do this, but I had my station disconnected, and the storms got over after it was dark, so maybe folks haven't gone back outside to reconnect. I'm thankful I've got a roll-up J-pole that I stuck in my attic that I use whenever I have to take the main antenna down, so it seems to be working okay. But anyway, thank you very much for keeping it going tonight and for changing it to other topics. I can't remember the name of the movie, but another one that I saw, now that you mention it, I remember there was an undertaker who somehow or another was collecting people and then turning them into tiny little creatures and then sending them to another dimension. I remember seeing that one, and I was rather young too, didn't understand it, and it creeped me out. I think I had nightmares. K9AHO.
Yeah, I was. There was a variation on that. There was a movie, and it had the guy who played Dr. Boyce in the cage. Of Star Trek, the original pilot. I can't think of his name right now, but he played Dr. Boyce in that. He played a guy who was able to shrink people down to doll size. I think it was called the Doll Maker or something like that. And he was very sadistic in his approaches to make them do things, otherwise he would snuff them out. They were his plaything. It's kind of like that, I remember. Your film I had not seen, but it had this one had a similar sensibility, I think, from your description. It was a pretty good film. I enjoyed it. Of course, he gets his comeuppance towards the end. Now, I'll tell you something that's really interesting. We're talking about spooky stuff, but as a kid, I didn't see these in first run. Although I gotta say, I actually did see a first run on CBS with Twilight Zone. I remember the episode with the. I'm pretty sure it was first run episode with was it the one where Ellie Mae, whatever her name is, from the Beverly Hillbillies, is unbandaged, and she is perfectly fine. They say she's just going to be horribly disfigured, and then we find out everybody else is disfigured instead. It scared the living crap out of me. As a kid, I remember that episode for many years, and it wouldn't be until finally Twilight Zone was in regular reruns. I saw that episode again, but that one stuck with me for years. But there was another series that I liked, too, that I still think the original is really good, called The Outer Limits. It was only 2 seasons long, actually a season and a half. They were half-hour episodes. It was an hour. No, it was an hour episodes. Twilight Zone was half-hour. Outer Limits was hour episodes. Really, really creepy stuff. I love the opening and the little creepy music by Dominic Fontier. Fantastic. Vic Perrine did the narration at the beginning. He was a very scary guy. I like that a lot. The anthology series was great. I think that was one of my favorites, Twilight Zone. One Step Beyond was another that was good. Thriller, I think, was another that was out there. But the Twilight Zone and Outer Limits just put me into that creep zone every week or every night that it was on. Just wonderful episodes. If you ever get a chance to see them, they're available on some of the streaming services. I think Pluto's got Outer Limits. Twilight Zone is on CBS, and I forget what they're using. I know that there's free streaming with CBS as well as CBS All Access or whatever they call themselves these days, Paramount Plus. But both series are well worth watching. Outer Limits I'd love to have heck out of. Really great episodes. Still enjoy them today. Anyone have anything else they want to add, or anyone want to check in? Oh, by the way, talking about that weather-wise here, we've had virtually no rain. I did have an interesting thing today. I'm turned into, in the last 4 years, into an avid runner, long-distance runner. And for health reasons, it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me when it comes to health. But at any rate, I was out today. I ran from downtown here. I live downtown, and about 3 blocks from here is a restaurant to eat at. I ran from there with a group of only 2 other people today, but we ran all the way over to North Shore, which we take the big, long bridge all the way over to this little island thing, which is where the aquarium is, and the some of the restaurants and stuff for the touristy area here in Corpus Christi. And coming off the bridge over into North Shore, there was it was about 87 degrees, something. I think it was 87. I got there, and just as I got across the bridge and down onto the island area there, the wind came in and blew in, and it dropped like 15 degrees in like 2 seconds. It was like somebody opened a refrigerator door. It was crazy. I said, oh, forget this. I'm not going to the other island. There's a second bridge you could go, and I decided not to do that. And turned around and went back. It got cold, and then it rained. It finally rained. We've been waiting months, actually over a year for rain, and it finally started raining. So it was cold and raining at the same time. Now, that's kind of all gone away, and temperatures are back up a little bit. But it was an interesting little jaunt across in the middle of nowhere in the big tall bridge. Tomorrow, they take down the old bridge from 1959, the old harbor bridge goes across the channel. That's where they do all the tankers and stuff come in. And so tomorrow it comes down, 3 o'clock. So that'll be the end of history. But the new bridge is great. It's 2 miles long. And so we run across, that's 2 miles, and then 2 miles back. It's actually 2 and 1/10 mile all the way across, and of course, same distance back. And run from down there, turn around, come back, and then go across to the edge, through the bad area of town, and then downtown, and then Ocean Drive, and then back to in this case, the restaurant. But, it's pretty nice. It's scenic, except for the areas where it's not scenic. And you get to run on part of the the side roads to the expressway. You get everything. So you get a little bit of, down here you get a little bit of the, Palm Beach type vibe. In one area you get the industrial vibe, you get the abandoned Detroit vibe. You get all of that all areas of town. And you get a chance to go across the bridge. So at a pretty good height. So I'm afraid of heights, but fortunately there's all sorts of things to keep you from falling off the bridge, which is good. The old bridge didn't have that. You could fall off the bridge. Anyway, so I thought I'd ramble about that just to kill some time. So that was my day today. Got my 10 miles in, which was pretty good. And then next week, get to run the bridge again, only this time there's a race, the Harbor Half. So that'll be fun, I hope. So I'm coming off of an injury, and I kind of messed up. 13 miles next Saturday, and then I continue getting ready for the Houston Marathon in January. Now, wasn't that boring? Okay, everybody's turned their radios off, gone to bed, and sleep, and said that's enough. So, thought I'd mention that. I don't even know why, just to say it, I guess. But anyone else got anything they want to talk about? Come on now.
Kilo November 5, Echo, Echo, Echo. This is Al from Allen.
KN5EEE, Al, and Alan. Go ahead. Anything you want to talk about, go ahead.
Well, we're just going to say 2 things. One, K9AHO's movie about the Undertaker was Phantasm, and that was indeed a creepy movie that sent me over the edge a little bit. But probably the one that creeped me out more than anything else was When a Stranger Calls. Pardon me. And I think the reason it scared me more than anything else I ever saw was I was never really afraid of monsters, because you just knew those were make-believe, but that was just a twisted guy who was hiding in the house. That one got in my head and stayed there for a long time. But Phantasm had some creepy moments in it. Also, he threw this little silver ball with this kind of knife thing that would pop out of it and stab you in the head. Then you go off to the alternate dimension or whatever. But those are my 2 creepy movie comments for the evening, and that's about all I got. So with that, I'll go back to that KN5EEE.
Oh, that sounds like a good choice. I'm not familiar with that movie, and I wrote down Phantasm, and I've also written down When a Stranger Calls, and your description reminded me of another movie that I really love, that if you've never seen it, you got to see it. It's called Night of the Hunter from 1955. It has Robert Mitchum, Shelley Winters in it, two big stars back then. Really cool movie. Who's it directed by? It's famous actor actually directed. Let me find. Charles Lawton directed it. This is a creepy film. It's very. It's got some Dutch angles in it and some interesting lighting about a serial killer who has managed to invite himself into this home. And he's looking to get, he's in prison, and he's looking to get the money that was buried by the guy who finally gets caught, and the money was never found, and it was his cellmate. He gets out before the cellmate does, goes to the family, and becomes, he acts as a preacher, and is preying upon these individuals, masquerading as a preacher and preying upon these individuals in hopes of finding out about where the money is and where it might be buried, because the family seems to know or might know or something. The kids are unsuspecting. These innocent kids. The wife is unknowing, thinking this guy is out to help, and he's not. And he is really, Mitchum's character is so predatory, so evil. And there's a scene where he murders the wife, and she is underwater in a car, and he has her chained to the car. This is just plain old frickin' creepy, and you'll never forget that scene when you see it. It's an amazing film. It's not as macabre as it may seem. That's probably the scariest scene that I ruined for you, but excellent film. Excellent film. Lawton was really surprisingly good as a director, but he was, you may remember him as Captain Bligh in Mutiny on the Bounty, I think the second remake. Anyway, another great film. I should have recommended that one. That is such a good film. I forgot all about it until just now. Fine film. You get a chance to see it. I'm going to see about When a Stranger Calls and Phantasm. I have not seen either, although I did see a spread in Synthetastic about Phantasm, so it looked interesting cinematography-wise, and I might watch it for the creepy factor as a movie. Anyone else have anything they want to add?
K9AHO, comment?
NT5TF.
All right, well, we'll still kind of keep it as a net. It's easy to do. We'll start with Brian and then Tony. Brian, go.
Well, first of all, I didn't get all of the call sign of the gentleman who just reminded us of the name of that movie, and I wanted to thank you for that. And then secondly, I just thought that your call sign was so cool, ending in EE. It seemed apropos on the net about scary things. Anyway, and the other comment was related to that bridge that was coming down. Tom, you were mentioning that, and since we were talking about scary things, it reminded me of Astoria, Oregon, close to where I grew up. There's a big bridge that runs across the Columbia River, and there are stories that I heard all throughout my childhood about either workers or the town drunk or whatever. When they were pouring the concrete footing for that bridge, evidently one or more people fell in, and they're still there to this day. And so, the kids are always talking about the bridge being haunted and so forth. Anyway, Astoria, you probably would seem familiar to you if you ever visited there. It was in the movie Kindergarten Cop, as well as Goonies and Free Willy. So it was pretty neat to have those film crews in the area while I was growing up, and all the stories from friends who were extras and so forth. Anyway, K9
Interesting. Yeah, there's always stories like that. Oh, and by the way, it was Alan. He's KN5EEE, triple E. So that's the guy who told us about When a Stranger Calls. Still there, I hope. Yeah, you mentioned that too. Some of the spooky things here in town. This is obviously a mariner town of sorts. I mean, it has been around for more than 100 years. I think about 130 years. I think it's been incorporated. But we've got close to downtown some of the original buildings. I think some of them were originally there and others were moved to the location. There's a park there with heritage buildings. And at least one of them, I think, has that haunted label on it. We also have a theater downtown. It was a stage theater in the 1800s, and it is reported to be haunted. It's still standing. They're in the process of renovating. They're raising money, and they're going to renovate it and turn it into a live theater again. I think it had been converted to a movie theater and then closed. So they're in the process of doing it and building. Interestingly, hopefully they still have the money. Building a art center right next door, which should be interesting. That should help revitalize that certain area that's there. Small portions of Corpus are very, very nice. Other portions are kind of broken down. Being on the water the way it is, stuff ages very quickly here, and it takes some real effort to keep things up to snuff because of the constant salt air from the salt water and the spray. I have to wash my car once a week at least. Otherwise, it looks like a salt lick down here, being on the water. But at any rate, they've got all of that, and it's been mentioned. I think it's in the theater. I have to go back and look. I know there's at least a couple of buildings down here. There's several that are considered, quote, haunted, end quote. So there's that. There's some spooky areas. When I run, I get to run through there. We do have a cemetery, and it's a nice shortcut to get you through certain areas of town. Because the cemetery is so large, you know, you have to run around it and do a U-shape. It's easier just to run through it. They say, who's the gal? Oh, heck. Can't see her name from here. Anyway, you just run through the cemetery. That's always fun. There's nothing going on. There's a bunch of other people there doing the same thing. It seems to be a regular route. Let's see. Oh, Tony had something. Go ahead, Tony. From KE5ICX to Tony, NT5TM. Go ahead.
Well, it's fun listening to movie recommendations and legends. I was really tickled to hear you mention The Night of the Hunter. Aaron and I watched that once together for a movie night, and it was really spooky and good. I've never seen When a Stranger Calls, although, of course, you know, everyone's heard of it. So maybe I should add that to my list. NT5TM. I love collecting these recommendations.
Well, good. I've got several on my list now. Anyone have any suggestions? I'll add them to the list for the group. If you've got a movie you'd like to see or would like to see again that we haven't done recently, see if we can drum up some business again. I think you could be right. It could have been that people unplugged everything. Also, it's football's in high season right now, so there's evening football. People get settled in, and then they don't get on the net. So there's that as well. There's always competition throughout the year. If I remember, right about now, there's a little bit of a lull on the nets, but I think that seems to change a little bit with daylight savings. I'm not quite sure why that is, but we'll see if that still holds true or whether it's just a figment of my imagination. But if you got a film that we haven't seen or we haven't seen in a long time, if you're a long time listening, Or not, that's fine. I'll put them on the list. I don't mind. We've been through A to Z movies, and we've done probably more Z than A movies these days. So if you got something, let me know. Okay, well, I won't belabor the point. We just ended a little early tonight. I'm putting up next week's movie will be Total Recall from, what, 19... Look, I didn't write down the date. Year, recall. This is the original, not the remake. 1990. 1990? I didn't know it was that late, but that makes sense, I guess. Total Recall. From 1990. I read the wiki on this one just today, and this is a really fascinating film. By the way, this is another Dan O'Bannon thing. I just noticed this on here. Screenplay, he was one of the guys that wrote it. Dan O'Bannon also did the Alien movie and Dark Star that we also watched, so I didn't realize he was on this project as well. He seems to have had a roll of winners through the years. Now, the thing about Total Recall is, and you'll find out next week as well, is there were a lot of people that wrote for this movie. There's like 17 script revisions that it went through, and several directors in the process, I think. So it was a troubled production, but ended up being not a bad film at all. The one that ended up being a terrible film was the remake in 2012, also called Total Recall. Oh well, things happen. Sometimes you shouldn't make a remake. Okay, with that, we'll just say good night and good luck, and we'll see you all next week. We'll shut her down because she's sucking mud as has been used on nets in the past. I'll finish up maybe the Return of the Fly. It's on tonight. There's a double feature. It's The Fly and Return of the Fly, just like they did in theaters over on MeTV. What's interesting about this film is The Fly came out and it was in color. Return of the Fly, which is the sequel, is in black and white. Looks like they used the same sets, though. Nothing's changed, considering the fact that both movies, are back to back. But very interesting. Oh, it just ended. Too much. That's the end of that. So I don't know what they're going to do for the next half hour. But they must. Oh, I know. They put Batman on it. That's next. So we'll watch that. So 37th Street, everybody. Have a good evening. Thanks for participating and giving your comments. That was helpful. I actually got some good leads on some great films. So. Unless everybody's got anything left they want to say, I'll just close it out. I'll give you a chance. I really didn't give anybody a chance to do that. So if anybody's got any final comments, come now. Okay, that's it then. We'll call it done. Total Recall next week from 1990. If anybody listening that didn't check in but wants to know how to find out about the movies for every week, just send me an email at my call sign, Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-Ray, KE5ICX@yahoo.com. I'll see about maybe restarting the page for Facebook. I had an account breach and they shut me down, so I lost control of everything on Facebook. That's why I haven't seen any updates. Not sure how exactly it happened. I've got my suspicions, but I would highly recommend, if you've got stuff out there, don't use the same password and use something super duper complicated and two-factor identification. That's really important. I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not, because I couldn't figure out what the heck happened. But at any rate, I have another account that's more secure, apparently, using that. So I'll put those in notes and updates so that you can find it there and people can use it. I just didn't do anything because I was kind of mad about out the whole thing, and then later on decided, did I really want to bother with it anymore? So I'm over that. I've had my hissy fit, and I'm done. So we'll put the page up so you can find out what the movies are without having to find out here or through the email. You just go to a place and you'll find it. So, good night, everyone. Oh, it's not Batman. It's Superman in black and white this time. I went back to black and white. 1951. This is KE5 ICX, now clear.